So let's talk about WandaVision.
The show has consistently gotten worse and worse for me over time. As every episode progresses, I have a new thing to dislike. WandaVision is overall a total dumpster fire of trash and rubbish. Even judging WandaVision by its technical attributes, the show is very average. All of the shots are plain, there's nothing interesting going on, the shot composition is normal. It's just a basic textbook like you came out of film school. Come on Disney, come on Marvel, you have hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into the show and you still can't come up with anything more creative than what you've been doing since day one. All your movies look the same, they all have the same pacing, the same character arcs. They're basically a textbook definition of repetitive.
No respect. I have no respect. I don't give a... I don't care about Wanda. I'm sorry. I don't. She's not an appealing character.
Now hold it, damn. Guys, I know it's been a while, but I'm back from the dead of this channel to talk about WandaVision. This is going to be a spoiler-free review of the show. I mean, yeah. So those first two clips got me thinking. What do I think about it? It's very simple. I think it's a great show.
You're not my neighbor. And an outsider. And I want you to leave.
Start what makes this show great. What I liked about it is an MCU property, but it takes a totally different spin, unlike anything we've seen in the MCU. I think it's unique in a huge way, and just the whole concept of this first season is just, yeah, I don't think it's something we've seen before in the MCU, and I can't really compare it to any other show that I've seen in the last few years. But a lot of what I've heard about it, criticism that I've heard about it is along the two first episodes, which are in black and white. I don't really think that's anything to be concerned about. I was at the beginning, but as you watch the show, you just see that they try a lot of different stuff. Some things work better than other things, but overall the story arc, and especially the character and the character development, that is one of the strong points of the show. And I think a lot of people misjudge the show, that it's going to be just a show, just a side piece for something else further down the line. But they really focus on the two characters, Wanda and Vision, and what happens with them after they come back from Endgame. The point of the show is you've had S.H.I.E.L.D. throughout the MCU, and now S.W.O.R.D. is actually going to take up that space. And I like that this show is really betting on that and really building that up. And also we have one of the first black female superheroes that's going to be represented. So that are a few key points that are very strong about the show. And what I like is the production quality and value of the show. I mean, if you look at this clip about, if you listen to this clip about what they do for the music, I mean,
and they would all have the word WandaVision in them.
WandaVision! WandaVision!
That we decided to make a WandaVision motif that would be able to be used in a different way. And I played them through for Kristen, but the first one was this. And she was like, that's the one.
That's it.
It could be like the 50s where it's like, or you know, the 60s one, which is and the 80s one, which is the fun became finding a way to hide that musical signature somewhere in each song.
You look at the period, you look at
Even that, the ending credits and everything, that is just all done with such a high quality, just like it would be in any MCU movie or property. To the two criticism reviews I showed you snippets from at the beginning of this video, I think it's important, as with any movie or show, that you invested in the characters. If you really don't like Wandavision as a whole as characters in the other MCU movies, then maybe this show is not for you. But most people that watch the MCU like all of the characters, not equally of course, but Wanda and Vision have always been one of the more, how do you say it, newer ones, but also therefore interesting ones that we're going to see in other properties. So how would I rate this show? I would rate it at 8.5, and that is actually the 0.5 point that I added after seeing the making of, which you can also stream now on Disney Plus, and then you just see how much effort and how good the acting is from Catherine Hahn in the show, and the person I'm playing is Jimmy Woo. And I just like those characters so much, and I'm really curious what they're going to do with those characters, especially now that they've been received so positively. And we've seen that Marvel does that. If they see that somebody likes a character, it's very likely that they'll use that character for something else again. What's also pretty interesting, I'm gonna bring in some credits here about the show production, the people that do the production, the writing. So it has been directed by Matt Shakman, I'm told, and he's been a director on Game of Thrones, on The Boys. I mean, those are world-class shows, so I think it's a pretty simple equation, you know, MCU and all the resources paired with a good director is undoubtedly a good product, right? And the same counts a bit for the writers. I mean, Peter Cameron, for instance, directed the show Carnival Row that you can see on Amazon Prime. I really recommend watching that show. That's a good show. So that standard, that level of quality is also something that I've noticed in Wandavision. So all of those things together, I think, make a very entertaining, interesting new property inside of the MCU. And you also, when you hear people referencing it, I mean, watch this clip for example, and this is the opinion of people that actually make movies, unlike the other previous clips that I showed.
If they're able to maintain that quality output. I don't know, Rob, what are your thoughts on that?
Dude, I'm with you 100%. I think that, and look, this is based on only on the quality of WandaVision, but the level of detail in this show, the care, to me, the care in with which WandaVision has been produced is very, very telling. This is not something that has been half-assed or phoned in. This is A-list all the way. Every bit of this production, every thought that was put into it, from the graphics and the ending credits to everything that we've seen in WandaVision, this is A-list, top drawer, Tiffany standard television. Now, it might not be quite your cup of tea, but if you look at it from objectively the level of the production value and the amount of thought put into it, it doesn't get any better. And I think that, again, what Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito and Victoria Alonso as the people that run Marvel Studios have done is they've not only shown that they can make this kind of television, but I think they're planting a flag saying, this is our baseline. This is the first thing that you've seen from us, and it's only going to get better from here. You think they're going to do something half-assed that doesn't live up to the standards they're setting with WandaVision? I think when we see Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're going to be like, oh my God, this is indistinguishable from an MCU feature. And I think they're going to do that moving forward. But what I think is really interesting is, whether they do, I can't believe, I look at WandaVision and I go, how good is a She-Hulk show going to be? I can only imagine how much fun that's going to be.
What the gentleman said in those clips, in that clip, are things that I largely agree with. I mean, this show has demonstrated so much quality, so much consistent quality, good storytelling, good character development. Everything was tip top, and it says that it sets the benchmark for what's to come after this in terms of MCU shows pretty high. And I have to admit, my two favorite shows upcoming are indeed Falcon and the Winter Soldier and next year's She-Hulk. Those are two shows in the MCU that I'm looking forward most. And I think if those shows can attain this standard or even exceed it, then they'll be great shows in their own right. And that says a lot about WandaVision. I mean, if it was like just an average meh show, as there are many of those, you wouldn't really pay attention to what's to follow or have high expectations of what comes after this. But the fact that it's seen by professionals as a new benchmark and a wake-up call that the MCU really is serious about making TV shows is very telling. So I hope you liked this video, and just let me know in the comments what you think about the show. And yeah, I wouldn't say the channel is back, but every once in a while, if something interesting comes up, I'll try to review that. Especially with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm very psyched about that show. So give a comment, give a like, and subscribe so you don't miss when we handle the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Peace.